Alba,
Yeah.
what you cooking?
Yeah. This one probably got the angel jamming in the chairs. You call him Jesus, I call him Yahweh Shah. It don't come from the script, it's hella Yaliyah. Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. Fake Jews in the name and they scared of us. Break bread with the heathen, I'd rather not. China want war, Russia want war. Babylon, see your time is running out. Yeah, I done read Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel. I feel like I'ma see the King David. I've been cursed since birth, hung with the wrong niggas, uncircumcised. I ate from the wrong table. Was confused before, ain't read the script, and you could tell. I swore it was all fake till I realized how history disappeared. It was coded by a world that won't save you. Yahweh gon' make sure we get it. Lord willing, I get it, Lord willing, I see the day. That's why I ain't trimming on my beard, just trimming on these beards with these fringes on my waist. I don't care about images, just care about building up enduring through my faith. I don't care about images, I just care about building up enduring through my faith. I will never forget thy precepts, for with them thou hast quickened me. I am thine, save me. I am thine, save me. I will never forget thy precepts, for with them thou hast quickened me. I am thine, save me. I am thine, save me.
I will never forget thy precepts, oh no, no. Oh no. Most High willing, I keep that frame of thought. And that's most High willing. Everyday battling flesh, getting ready for the war. That's why I gotta repent, pray fast, move on. I am thine, save me, because thine enemies make a tumult, planning schemes. That's why the world waxing weak, gave up the world and the we to serve the Lord as my King. We got the faith, yeah, we believe. Sooner than later, you gon' see. Every eye shall see, every knee shall bow. Wow, that's power. If you fit the curses in Deuteronomy well, that power is ours. Time is running out if you rain on the boat like the days of Noah. 2 Peter 3 and 6, go to 7. Work out your salvation. Gave me the precepts. I pray that I live by them. Running this race. Pray I'm enduring to the end. Pray I'm enduring to the end. Work out your salvation. Gave me the precepts. I pray that I live by them. Running this race. Pray I'm enduring to the end. Pray I'm enduring to the end.
Yeah, I live. I might speak that slang, but got that word. Yo, I can still pull up where I served in. They watching my moves, they observing. Steam my brother, it's whatever for you. I'ma serve. Gotcha. What you need? I might speak that slang, but got that word. Yo, I can still pull up where I served in. They watching my moves, they observing. Steam my brother, it's whatever for you. I'ma serve. I'm standing right here, you can crucify me. I'll forever be a voice for the voiceless. Hang with the Lord, you can get on. Hang some my haters, who they put on. Do this for the Lord, we don't put on. And we lay down the blueprint, and we following the red blade. Put a blue letter, re-reference. No blood or Chris, y'all brothers repent. You know the vibes when we bump shows. No, we going up, but don't speak on. Know what I'm on in real time. And we too lit for lies. The box they living lies. Don't need your criticize. Never met him one time, but my name in his mind. Why most I gotta remind to stop the COVID, they wild. I might speak that slang, but got that word. Yo, I can still pull up where I served in. They watching my moves, they observe. Esteem my brother, it's whatever for you. I'ma serve. I might speak that slang, but got that word. Yo, I can still pull up where I served in. They watching my moves, they observe. Esteem my brother, it's whatever for you. I'ma serve. Yo.
We always making slow music, man. Wanna pray to his music, meditate. You can't get hype, man. Sometimes I wanna get hype for the Lord. Come on, man.
Blood on the post, 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 blood Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. Blood on the post, blood on the post, keeping them close. Man, we got Frenches and seats on the clothes. Me and my brothers ain't sleeping, we reading the secrets. The deepest you've been is the ocean. Now we've been swimming in waters that's deeper than rivers to Jordan. We creeping up on them. It's the 14th of the month. Bone Thugs one day late for the show. Oh, ain't never been out ever since Redder Pen Pals. You too late, you let them in now. We like veterans, niggas us power. These secrets only come through steady, no regrets. We walk through water like Jesus. We raising the dead, you see this. Look at this evening pose. Blood on the post. 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 Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post.
We hold in post, chopping up doctrines that ain't coming close. They had the 3 strikes like I'm Warner Franco. We're show toast, wisdom is better than silver and gold. This water is knocking down wicked Pharaoh. Can't swim through the sea, man, that fan was too slow. Pharaoh was sober-minded, think he can and go. Escape on a starry night, Victor Van Gogh. Living good unchained like Quincy Django. Sharpers down in the hood, now they wanna tango. Death angels coming close, so watch your back, bro. Watch your back, bro. We feeling that land, we gon' eat that. That better, bitter herb, we gon' eat that. Doing this till you how I come and see that. We that. Oh.
Blood on the post. 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 Blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post, blood on the post. The Pesach and Nissan, we found faith in Misraim. We got to be strong. Walking through water, pray we don't sink. Strapped up, boots tight. Walking up right, boy, we don't lean. 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 Walking up right, we see that. Blood on the post. 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 Blood on the post.
All right, Shalom. Nah, I can see you. You what happened?
I don't see me. Oh, there I am.
All right.
I said I've been having technical issues with this since I opened it up. Shalom, everybody. Hope you can hear me. This is Officer Knock with Captain Eliel. This is another Milk Mondays. We want to welcome you back to another Milk Mondays lesson. But before we start, we first gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody for wanting to learn these lessons. And so we're gonna get it popping off. Tonight's title and tonight's lesson is going over the Black history of Scotland. Now, this is something that I'm very interested in because I have I've learned some things about this. I think Captain's gonna have a nice, well put together class to give y'all some understanding of the Scots and who ruled at a certain time and era around whatever era he's gonna bring out. But let me first bring up some announcements. Let me stop this real quick. Hold on. We got some announcements though, right? Because we got some events coming up. All right. So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Pull this calendar up real quick. Of course, it's our feast day calendar for 2025. All right. We just had Purim. Now we have Passover coming right around the corner. Anyone who wants to participate in the Passover with Anointed House of Saints, please go to our website, right? And I'll go to that a little bit later, probably at the end of class, to show you how to do that, how to sign up for a Passover so you can feast with Anointed House of Saints. But that'll be taking place April 11th in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. In Atlanta, Georgia, we had this Passover last year. It was a wonderful time in the same place. We're going to do it again, most high willing. All right. So with that, let me also invite any brothers who are out there wanting to build their brick or put their brick in to build this kingdom with the Anointed House of Saints. You can do so by sending us your interest at anointedhos@gmail.com. That's anointedhos@gmail.com. In the subject line, put that you want to put prospect phase. We'll get information back to you when the next phase will start. All right, Captain, you got anything else you want to say before we start, or any announcements?
Hit the like button when you come in the building, Bubba Share the
Hit the
video.
like button as always. You know what I'm saying? We depend on y'all to know that tell your friends about us. You know what I'm saying? Right. We need, and we appreciate the support, especially those who are always here every week. But let's go ahead and get the class started. Captain, I'm just going to go ahead and go over some things after class, since we got started kind of late. So let's go ahead and get class started. So it's all on you. All praise.
Word. Hold on, just a second. Trying to send out this line. I thought you were gonna be a little bit longer than that. Now, man.
Oh, sorry. I got to adjust a few things. So I'm a black out real quick, but I'm here.
Okay, hold on a second. Now give me hot second. So yeah, man. I wanted to do this class for a couple reasons. Main reason was because we did the Danite lesson, and this is connected to that. So if you don't like history, I'm sorry, but I got to do these classes because it ties in certain things for people that want to know historically where we ruled, where we got kicked out of, how Esau got certain strongholds, and so on and so forth, right? So, because we tell y'all all the time that Esau is not the people that originated in the land of Japhet, but y'all don't ever think about how they took the land over. It would make a lot of sense for them to have control of all the land if we were the last people to have control and not the people of Japhet, right? So it's just, I'm kind of like, I'm trying to show. So we're going to go over that today. Give me a hot second. Yeah. All right. But, oh, hold on. I got it. Here we go. Mm-hmm. All right, bet. So, yeah, we have to be in a situation where we understand the Bible and we understand history and we understand the history outside the Bible, right? That connects to how we end up here in these places, right? So, we teach about how the Dark Ages was, a place where was a time period where Black people ruled the earth. And a lot of y'all can't really substantiate none of that type of history besides King James was Black. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give y'all some historical proof that you can use to prove those type of statements. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason for classes like this. Without further ado, let's go over the PowerPoint real quick to catch everybody up. So, I wasn't supposed to see that yet. Goodness gracious. Hold on. Why? Most high? Oh, whoa, wait a minute, wait. Let's just look at that. Yeah, look at that for a second. All right. Okay. All right. So, the way this started with us talking about Dan, right? We spoke about Dan. Started with Joshua chapter 19, verses 40 to 47, right? Spoke about how they were up on the Joppa coast, which is the coastline of Israel, right? Connected to the body of water, right? So we have Solomon, right? And the Philistines trading, right? So they have the trade ports, or the trade going on with the Philistines and stuff like that in Psalm chapter 3 and verse 9, and also Ezekiel chapter 27. So and the also Javan is there, right? Mainly Javan was who we were connecting them to, because Javan would be Greece, right? We found out that according to Alexander, these people, right, and Josephus, that these people were indeed people that were the Lacedaemonians, the Danites, right? They said the Lacedaemonians are the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel, with the part of the tribe of Simeon, specifically, is what Alexander the Greek wrote, and Josephus seconded that. So, and Josephus was an Israelite, for those of y'all that don't know. So that's who the Lacedaemonians are. I also told you guys in this lesson that the Scythians, they're connected to the Lacedaemonians. This lesson today is going to further prove that point, okay? Which is why I'm going over the PowerPoint. So, yeah, we go through the trade, how they get over to the land of Javan, or the land of Japhet, if you will, right? Because they also took over Cyprus. According to the internet, they founded Cyprus. There were two groups, the Danaans and the Dorians, right? Or two names, rather, of the same people. So the Danaans were people that, came first, right? And then we had the Dorians that came afterwards, or according to history, right? The name change. So the Danaans end up going from Israel to Cyprus, and then from Cyprus to Greece. In Cyprus is where the story of Hercules becomes famous, right? Who we find out, according to history, is also Samson, right? We see that here. In the Greek, they have this thing called apotheosis, which we talked about in the John 1 lesson, right? The word that the Greeks use to make somebody a god, right? So this word apotheosis, where the Greeks make somebody a god, it literally, allows them to make folklore stories about you, give you a different name, give you these type of god attribute powers and all that type of stuff, right? So Samson becomes Hercules, which is his Javonian name, if you will, right? And as a god, once he becomes apotheosized, he's Thor, right? Which we see movies of Thor. Y'all know what Thor's powers are. He's got control of the lightning hammer and all that type of crap, right? He's supposed to be real strong. He still wears the lion head and all that type of stuff, right? So when you see him in his real form, maybe not the movies that they're showing now, but yeah. So that's who he's supposed to be, right? So Thor, Hercules, and then they have the other gods, right? I told you guys about the connection between Odin and Zeus, right? And all those different type of things. And even Scotia and Lacedaemon, who would be the prince of the Lacedaemonians, who they come from, right? So all of that stuff was stories that we were able to substantiate. Even a Google overview gave us this answer on Samson. It says the Greek name for Hercules may have originated from the Hebrew word Heraclim, which was the name of the merchantmen of the Danite tribe. The Danites were a seafaring tribe that may have come into contact with the Mycenaean world. The Mycenaeans and the Minoans are people of Japhet, right? Specifically Javan. Aside from the Danaans and the Dorians, right? The people who gave them the story, right? The tribe of Dan, right? The Heraclim from Cyprus to Javan. They also had brothers called the Milesians, right? This was Judah and Benjamin. That was their flag, right? They come from Eberfin and Aramon, all right? And they were the first rulers of Ireland, right? So we'll talk about them in a minute. They are actually sons of the people who were the first to, go to Scotland, allegedly, to the myth, right? King Miles and his wife Scota or Scotia, right? Which is where the name Scotland comes from. This woman, Scota, is a queen, notable one, because she's also the daughter of a pharaoh from Egypt, right? So she's a real person in history. Miles is also a real person in history, though they try to say this is a myth. So Iberfin and Eramon, they're the first rulers of Ireland, right? Ireland very much nearby. So these are all Danites, okay? Well, aside from this lady right here, Skoda. So, but Milesians, they come with Judah and Benjamin, and Judah and Benjamin ends up taking over and ruling and stuff, right? So they become the group of the Milesians that later on becomes the Anglo-Saxons, right? So later on in history, right, they developed their flags, and I told you guys about the story between the colors on how they say that different kings within these lines of the Milesians that later became the Anglo-Saxons, they tell themselves about the story of Zerah and Perez. So the colors of the lions and the nails and all that type of stuff was to depict whichever line that they came from, right? And we know that Zerah and Perez were of Judah, right? So that's how the line changes of the Milesians, which by this time they're Anglo-Saxons. So, which is why I told you that King James might have been of the tribe of Judah, right? Which today might actually make that possible because there's a specific king of Scotland who claims, well, I'll say King James people claim to be a descendant of his, right? So claim him to be an ancestor of theirs. And he claims to be a direct descendant of David, as these people who made these flags did, right? So we have Dan, who, as the Lacedaemonians, right? 193 AD, along with Levi, the Maccabees, of course, right? And Judah that was with them and stuff like that, and Benjamin, right? So 193 AD, we have a takeover. We win, right, in Rome, and a lot of them go to Ireland, right, in Scotland. Okay, so some of them went to Germany, right? We also developed this language called Gaelic, which is going to come into play today, right? And I showed you guys from originsofthenations.org and other websites that we went over during this lesson that you could see in the actual Dan lesson. Before we get into these videos, there's going to be videos that we're going to watch today in this lesson that are going to talk about this Gaelic language, right? And we saw on this website that there is much evidence to suggest that the Gaelic and Hebrew are similar, and no people in Germany, Ireland, or Scotland today speak this language, right? So the people that live there now, i.e., white people, they don't speak these two languages because these are languages that the people that were before them spoke. We're also going to see in some of the movies in the videos today that we're going to watch, right, that it's going to be said that the people, there's proof and knowledge based off of certain writers from England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, that will tell the truth that they can't prove that the current people there now that claim to be the owners of the land, so to speak, they can't really prove prove themselves to be the original people of the land, right? And they'll even go as far as to say nobody can tell you who the originals were, because it's been so many different people that have ruled the land, right? That's mainly because they don't want to tell you about us. But Gaelic is a language that's very important in the history of Scotland and Ireland and Wales, right? And Hebrew is connected to that language because the people that spoke it also spoke Hebrew and Koine Greek, right? So, which is why it's also a Celtic language. If you remember the second part of the Dan lesson, how the Danes and Saxons made white people Slavs, right, or slaves. In that lesson, we talked about how we were the Celtics, and then they had a group called the Veneti that came down, right, from the Scandinavian slave trade, and they settled in Celtic land. Once we left, they assumed the name Celtic, and they became the white Celtics, right? They didn't speak Gaelic. We did. We brought the language to Ireland, right? Once the white Vikings got there, they learned the language. Now that they've kicked all the white people out the land, they assumed themselves to be the Celtics, which is why Israelites that know history also tell you that we were the Scythians and the Celtic people as well, because originally we were. Which again, this lesson will bring more proof to that. Okay, so we went over the words Dubgal and Fingal, which is also going to be important for this lesson. They mean black. They're actually words that come from Scotland and Ireland, right? So dub meaning dub foreigner, right? Or dub ginty is also another word that you'll see. Or Fingal meaning fair or white is what that meant. Light at the time, not beautiful. So Fingal as in fair Gentile or fair foreigner, right? Or Fin Ginty, as I said with Dub Ginty, right? So that's the black and white Vikings that came from Scandinavia, which we saw that in the book. This is the origins of the Anglo-Saxon race, right? Where we see them actually talking about the black Vikings, right? From Scotland and Wales, right? They got Anglo-Saxon names like Blackmane, right? Blackman and Blackman Stone. And they got Kentish names and all this other stuff, right? Kent being a place in England, right? Black Gentiles, Dub Ginty, right? So in Dublin, Ireland, right? Scotland from Scotia. So we see these things, right? The Danes. So we went over this book, The Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race, right? Because also smart Israelites let you know that Anglo-Saxon is the angelic sons of Isaac, which would refer to the Israelites, right? And the other people, if referred to as Saxons, would just be that, Saxons. All right. So that's a little bit of the history to catch you up. Let's get into some videos now so you understand where we're coming from with this lesson. Make sure. Which one is this? All right. Bet. All right. Wow. Hit the like button when y'all come in the building. Let's see what this big head dude got to say. To play.
It is that the original inhabitants of Britannia, whether indigenous or foreign, are like most other countries unknown. This is a quote from the Venerable Bede in the 7th century. Countries unknown, whether indigenous. It is that the original inhabitants of Britannia, whether indigenous or foreign, are like most other countries unknown. This is a
So he's starting, or this is starting by telling you they don't know the people that originated in Britain, right? The reality is going to be the same for Scotland and Wales, which he's going to go into in a minute. He's going to even go into different writers from different time periods that would tell you this quote, right? Same quote. It's because they don't want you to know who the original people are. Because if they don't go over this history, but as long as it's documented, right, they can perpetrate the lie that they perpetrate, that they're the original people of the land, because quote unquote we don't know, right? So yeah, and then they would say, well, who's the dominant people of the land, without having you think about colonization and all that other stuff that could have happened, right? It just, you basically have to concede to it in the heat of the argument. You don't think about all that stuff, especially if you don't know history. So that's how they've been able to perpetrate the lie, which is why it's important for people to learn the truth.
quote from the Venerable Bede in the 7th century. There is another quotation. The original inhabitants of Britannia, whether indigenous or foreign, are like most other countries unknown. This is from Richard Cirencester in the 13th century. And there is a third quote. The original inhabitants of England, whether indigenous or foreign, are like most other countries unknown. This is by Francis Bacon in the 17th century.
So you got Britain, Scotland, England, 900, 13, and 17th century, right? Or 10 century divisions. So you see that? And they're telling you off top, they don't know who's supposed to be the originators of this land. Ironically, all the kings of the land that were quote unquote the first kings, right? Whether it be the first kings to unite the whole land, period, or the first line of kings to come through the land, because there's two different lines of kings, right? Which I explained the tribes as well, or three different uh if you're counting England, right? And France. But for Scotland, the Danes, Dan never ruled Scotland in full. They never got to be king over all of it, right? So same thing with Ireland. So this is Judah and Benjamin, right? That's basically ruling this land. So but there's two different lines, and you'll get to see the difference in the two lines, right? Which is pretty distinctive.
This is to show
It's also why it's possible that King James could have been Benjamin, which I'll explain that later.
us that for the 1,000-year period between 700 AD to the 16th century, there was a continuity of thought, which is that the people who inhabited the British Isles cannot claim to be indigenous, and that the possibility of finding out who is indigenous was an impossible or forlorn hope. And yet now in the 21st century, we often speak about English history.
So it was impossible, for those of you that don't understand his accent, it was impossible for people to understand who the indigenous people were, who the original inhabitants of these places were, right? For all hope.
As if we can say with certainty who's indigenous and who's not, who's foreign and who's not, and who's native and who's not. Many of these ideas are actually formed in the wrong part, or the political part, not the historical evidence part of our understanding.
Dub Macmail Column, sometimes anglicised as Duff Macmalcolm, Den the Vehement, and Niger, Niger being a Roman Latin translation of the Scottish Gaelic Dub, and its later Duff, both meaning black, and who, it should briefly be noted, directly descends via the traditional hereditary line of Scotland's kings from Fergus More.
So he's talking kind of fast. I want to rewind it because he's going straight into the first king that they want to talk about. This guy's the one that they like to call the first king of Ireland because he's the one that you can't find a black picture of, right? Who you can find a black picture of because there's only one actual real picture of him that they could find that hasn't been, changed and stuff like that. So there's only one in the archives, but that's Fergus More, the guy that they just mentioned. This guy is a son or grandson of Fergus More, who's supposed to be the first king of Scotland and Ireland, period. So let me show you. Hold on a second. This brother looks like. I know y'all don't like history. I'm sorry, bro. But it is what it is.
No, I'm a history buff, cat.
I know.
I love the history.
Jake don't like to learn this type of stuff. So you see on my computer, it pops up as a brother, and then you see the white images, right? So Fergus More Mac Eric, or Fergus More, son of Eric, was a possible king. And then they say possible because they don't want you to know that he was the real king. But all the history and the Irish annals and the Scottish annals, they all name him and call all the kings descendants of his. So it ain't no possible he's the king, right? Of Del Riata. He was the son of Eric of Del Riata. While his historicity may be debatable, his posthumous importance as a founder of Scotland. So why is he important as a founder if his freaking historicity is questionable? They see how they openly hypocrisize their statements and stuff like that. So in the national myth of medieval and Renaissance Scotland is not in doubt. So he's an important figure in national and medieval Renaissance Scotland, but because of y'all in this Wikipedia article, his historicity is debatable, but they have a death date for him and everything like that, right? So, and a birth date, right? 430 to 501. So, This is Fergus Moore. Okay. He's the king, first king of Scotland. All the kings that ruled Scotland afterwards, they called themselves, descendants of this guy, right? So I'm gonna let the video play some more, but this is the first king of Scotland, right? After Miles, who was married to Scotia, which is where the land comes, the name comes from, right? So oh, there it is. So I'm trying to figure out where my video went.
Reigned as King of Alba from 962 to 967 CE. Alba being the precursor kingdom of what is now modern-day Scotland, a kingdom formed from the unification of the Scots and Picts.
So Alba is what Scotland used to be called. When you look up these places, that's what it used to be called, right? You see Scots, the Gaels, right? These are them, black people, the Israelites, right? Judah, Benjamin, a little bit of Levi, right? And then we got the Picts, right? This is a mix of us and Japhet, okay? The Picts. So that's what's going on here. In both groups, that was in Rome, because both of these groups was slaves in Rome and stuff like that. Both of us came here to Ireland and Scotland, and we ruled as the Picts and the Scots. We fought the Britons as the Picts and the Scots. There's a bunch of wars with the Picts and the Scots going against the Britons and fighting off the Vikings and all that type of stuff, and even fighting each other, right? So there's a lot of history just between these two groups alone. But the Scots are the Israelites primarily. The Scots are Israelites, and then the Picts are a mix of them and Japhet, but mainly Japhetic people, right? So that's what's going on here at this time.
Two of the five major people.
And then we got the Britons, right? Angles, which basically the same people at this time. More Gaels at the bottom, right? And then you got the Norse. These are the Danites that come from Scandinavia. They start to rule up here at the north, right? So in this purple area, Norse Gaels, because a lot of us, due to us having to come into contact with you guys all the time, we learned to speak Gaelic. So we meaning Dane, the Danes, Danite, the Danes, right? So Norse, Northmen, right? So that's who they are. And they learned to speak Gaelic. They were able to do so because, again, Gaelic is connected to Hebrew. Both groups are Israelites. Both groups know how to speak Hebrew still, because both of them travel back and forth to Israel as well, and to Europe, where they're speaking Koine Greek and Hebrew, right? Still at this time period. So that's what's going on here, right?
Peoples, out of whom's melting pot.
So you basically, just to point this out, you got all the groups right here, except for the rest of the Northern Kingdom. You got Dan, you got Judah, Benjamin, right? You got Judah, Benjamin, you got Judah, Benjamin, right? Levi. You feel me? And these angles, this is probably them trying to say this is the white, the Fingal that came here, now that I'm thinking about it. So the Britons would be Jake, and these would be Edomites, because it's the far east side of Scotland. So yeah, that's actually what's going on here. So Japhet, Esau, Jake, right? Southern Kingdom right here from orange to green, and then the Northern Kingdom's in the purple, and there's a mix right here in the blue.
The Scottish identity was forged. The Picts, most notable between these two groups for being the people whose population inhabited the largest area of Scotland for the longest period of time. Of the Dub King's life, little is known, the Chronicles of the Kings of Alba and a single entry in the Annals of Ulster being the only known contemporaneous accounts of the king's exploits, including his eventual death, likely at the hands of the Scots. Wantingly little is known also of the son that in death he left behind, Cinaj Macdub, anglicised as Kenneth III, who in life was nicknamed in Scottish Gaelic An Don, meaning the Brown.
Just to quickly show you Kenneth III, the son of Malcolm McDuff, their favorite king. We got a picture of Big Kenny, right? This is Kenny right here, okay? Kenny Benny. Don't he look black?
Can he do?
Okay, just make a show. I ain't tripping, because you know, I might be biased. I don't know, sometimes. But I thought this looked like
I was gonna say, try to zoom it in.
You know, they tried to anglicize it a little bit.
Yeah.
This picture is from 10,000. So
that's a brother.
Supposedly. I don't think it really is though, because how new it looked. I'm sure it's not from 10,000. This is a newer picture, but it's supposed to be a nigga. You feel me? So that is Kenny, aka Andon, the Brown, right? This is Granddaddy, right? Okay, and then this is him. All right, this is Kings of Scotland. Okay, and them was from Getty Images. I ain't even have to go to no book. That was straight off the Google Getty Images, right? Go to Getty Images, type in Kenneth III, or type in Malcolm McDuff, or type in Fergus Moore, M-O-R, just one O, and you will find them pictures, right? For free, right off the Google Press, without having to buy the Negro rulers of Scotland and Britain.
And who, like his father, reigned as successive king of the Scots from AD 997 to 1005. And in similar respect, or lack thereof, to his father, people living several centuries after his death took it upon themselves to depict from their own mind's eye what they can only.
And this white boy's smart, because he ain't show you no pictures, but I'm going to show you the pictures while he talk about it. He going to give you the history. I'm going to show you what he's saying.
Presume the man looked like, such as in this 1673 oil painting by Dutch artist.
I lied. He gonna give you pictures, but he gonna give you fake pictures, and he's gonna tell you they fake pictures. But just listen to what he's saying while he explains it, because he's gonna give you specific time periods as to why you can't find no real pictures of these black men anymore. Look at the date on here. It say 970, right? But listen to when it was painted.
Jacob de Wet. If one were to search up the dub king of Scotland and success.
Is he gonna give you the date for this picture?
Jacob de Wet. 1673 oil doom the man looked like, such as in this 1673 oil painting by Dutch artist Jacob de Wet.
So a Dutch artist, Jacob de Wet, mind you. Yes, Dan was the first rulers of Dutch people, right? They were the kings of Denmark originally. I proved that in the Dan lesson, right? Which we have pictures of them on this PowerPoint. We could show it if we need to. But but the Dutch were the first people to join the slave trade, basically, right? They started in the 1400s. So they already kicked us out the land, right? By the 1600s, it's none but white people in the Dutch lands. You feel me? They in control. So 1673. Are we in control in 1673? Nope. We don't have nowhere but France. That's it. That's it. Right? And we're losing that quickly. So, yeah. At this time, they're repainting their pictures, right? They're covering the faces of the judges and painting themselves in place of them, right? That's what's happening. And Franklin Duet, Dutch artist, paints Kenneth like this instead of the picture that we just saw, right? So once they paint a bunch of these and then they go into the archives and they put them in books and all that type of stuff and they get quoted, right? This is what Google picks up instead of picking up the true pictures that could be found that might still have tags on them and stuff like that. Because most of the images look like this. That's also an AI trick.
If one were to search up the dub king of Scotland and successfully ignore the curiously titled 2006 thriller documentary, The the last king of Scotland.
But the question would be, why did they make good old Forrest play him if historically they can't find any records that he was a nigga? Kenneth, that is. And if Kenneth looked like Forrest, then maybe minus the eye, but you never know. So if Kenneth looked like Forrest, how in the world don't his daddy and his granddaddy look like Forrest, or his son's son, and so on and so forth, right? Especially when their last names is Dub and Moore. McDuff, Mac Black, the Black Mac. That's literally what that means.
Starring the very great and very black actor Forrest Whitaker as its central protagonist. You might stumble across this portrait by George Jameson, dated circa 1633, more than
1633 of the King of Duff.
700 years after the Dub King's birth in 928 CE.
By the way, we don't have any black pictures of Malcolm because these are the pictures that exist now. So I personally couldn't find no black picture of Malcolm. Malcolm McDuff. Malcolm Mac Black. Right? But he's going to read you some things. They're all going to tell you he was the nigga. Right? That his family was black. But of course, some white people try to say that the word Niger was denoting his hair color. Like, yeah, shut up. You know what I'm saying? His eye color was black, or yeah, some crap like that. But he's gonna let you know, the white guy in the video, that it most likely was his skin color, and he gonna tell you why. We're just not gonna watch the whole hour video to explain that. I'll give you guys the video. We're gonna watch a good amount of it, but not all of it, because I got other things to show you out.
One of two portraits attempting to present the time-lost ruler, a man doubly lost in the 21st century, near 4 centuries since the painting's production.
Hey, can you give me First Maccabees 3 and 48, just so we have a biblical, connotation to what's going on here with the portraits that they're seeing? These are supposed to be black people, and the white guy's going to explain that momentarily, right? But they're white people that have painted them literally during the time period of us being in slavery, and they've covered the faces of our kings that ruled before them. And now those are the pictures that pop up on Google, right? He's literally explaining that because he's reading to you the records of them being black, but the pictures that you see now don't show that, minus the ones that I've been able to find on the internet or in the books that we have. We're going to see a lot of those in a minute. Read that real quick.
God.
So I'm probably not going to stop him no more after this.
This is you said First Maccabees 3?
Except to explain stuff. Yeah, 3 and 48.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
See, so the heathen, like they paint the likeness of their images, right? Scriptures also talk about them in Job, covering the faces of the judges thereof, right? If not where, then who is he? So, because they're the only ones that did it. There weren't no Asian people like making us look like, Jet Li and Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. You know what I'm saying? They ain't drawing us like that. So it's only them. You feel me? So like they're the people who have gone through not just the book of the Bible, but our history books, right? All of our records. And they've drawn themselves literally in the face of the judges. Judges are people in control, right? The kings are judges. Feel me? The queens are judges. The princes are judges. The rulers are judges. The nobles, the aristocrats, they are the judges of the people, right? And you're seeing here that these are actually aristocracies, which is one of the reasons why I took the name that I took, right? Because literally all of us, based on our bloodline right to the throne of the Israelites, right? The people who have power with God, we are a nation of kings and priests, right? And princesses. So that being the case, we're aristocracy because it's a bloodline right. It's based off of our bloodline. It's not nothing you can get elected to, right? It's a bloodline thing. So, and in the kingdom, it will be such, right? So, like, ain't gonna be no heathen that gets to wake up one day and get to win an election to become an Israelite. That ain't gonna be like that. You either Israelite or you're not in the kingdom. So it's an aristocracy. These kingdoms in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England, France, they were aristocracies. They were based off of the line of the kings, right? Who was next in line to the throne, either based on will of, something in writing. So like if a father wanted it to be his oldest son and then his youngest son, instead of his oldest son and then his grandson, he could put that in writing and it could pass down to whoever he wanted it to pass down to, right? And so on and so forth. So there were ways that it happened, but it always was based on the line, right? Esau changed that. And once it got too complicated with them with the kingship, right, they stopped the king stuff and started the elected officials, which is why most of the world runs off of that instead of kings. The king thing, we have now the connotation that being a king on the earth was a white people thing, right? Riding on the horse and wearing that outfit with the gold and the crazy hats was the white people, but it was you Negroes, right? The people of the Southern Kingdom like the weave and the wigs and stuff like that. Well, y'all niggas was wearing them back then too. Where you think they come from? There's nothing new under the sun, guys. So it's like our people was the ones doing that, right? We was the ones in control. You got the black women with the big butts and the dresses that stick out the dress. The white woman's wearing the puff dress, the umbrella bottom, right? To try to keep up with y'all because that's what the black man wanted. And then you get the pictures like, let me see if I got that picture in my archive still. Because I got pictures for y'all, boy. It's going to pop up for me if I can find it. Might not be able to find it, though. I'll look for it while this video playing because I don't want to take up too much time. But the point I'm making is we was in these places ruling, right? And the connotation is that our people couldn't have been those people out there doing that stuff, right? It had to be the white people that were the kings and the queens of these lands. But now the white people are in control and there's no kings and queens of these lands. So why would y'all think that? They got presidents and elected officials now. They changed the way that the democracy was ran. It wasn't really a democracy, right? It was a aristocracy. It was a what's the word to start with an E? Damn it.
Start with what?
Or maybe an A. An E or an A. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It was an empire though, right? It wasn't something like what we have now. It wasn't a democratic republic where people could vote and stuff like that. It was the king's rule and that was it, right? That's how we rule things. And the kings typically, based off the movies that you've seen, and if you watch any medieval movies, or if y'all watch like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, them type of movies, right? The kings and stuff usually go off of the Bible. You feel me? Maybe not Game of Thrones because that was different, some made up stuff. But them other movies like that, from that time period type stuff, right? They're usually kings that are trying to go off the Bible. The reason why is because these were black kings trying to do what I told you guys before, right?
God.
In the other lessons, there were kings trying to rule their land, knowing they were Israelites, without going by the name of Israelite because they weren't allowed to be Israelites anymore. They had the fake Jews already in Israel, right? They had the edicts out that we went over last week that proved that we couldn't go back since 300 AD. It's around the 8 to the 900s when these guys are out here. 1000 is when Kenneth, who we're talking about right now, is ruling, right? So, like, we're not allowed in Israel at this time. So, well, by the time, 900, 1000 we are, but, 300 to about 700, no black people are allowed in Israel. If you go there, you're getting killed or you're getting put in slavery. That's how it was, right? Muhammad's running around with black slaves. The reason why is because we weren't allowed over there in that area. All right?
Portraits which remain vulnerable to critique not only due to the fact that they're not at all contemporaneous to the lives of the two Scottish nobles, and thus can't hope to capture their authentic countenance, but because some rogue theorists, and I'll get onto who exactly in a moment, speculate
Monarchy is a good word. That's one of the words I was looking for. That'll work. We can use that.
it on the grounds of their own anthropological and historical reasoning that the depictions in question differ significantly from the ethnic identity of the figures they're attempting to portray. Because to the perspective of some, these Scottish kings were Moorish. These Scottish kings were Moorish. These Scottish kings were Moorish.
Y'all get it? Y'all know what Moorish mean, right? Moorish is just a byword to mean black. These Scottish kings was blackish. Okay? Huh? Why'd he put a picture of that guy? Who's that? That is a stereotypical picture of a Moorish coat of arms. Coat of arms? What's that? That's what you put on a flag when you're an aristocrat. If you want to see different coats of arms from these time periods and different last names that these people had, you can go read the book Nature Knows No Color Line.
Seeds in
a free PDF on Google.
That budding discourse might first be planted in acknowledging the name of Dub Mac Male Column and its translation.
There's that word again. Dub, duff, dub, black, duffy, dub, black.
To black. Now, whilst black isn't itself an ethnicity, nor the Brown translation of his son Kenneth MacDub's own nickname, there's no doubt that the usage of these terms as descriptors of one's complexion have been commonplace throughout the annals of human history.
Put a 7 in the chat if you're following so far.
Verging on a universal social phenomenon.
Like the video if you
and
haven't
yet
already.
This doesn't discount that these colors might also attribute one's hair color, eye color, perhaps even metaphorically symbolize their moral temperament.
Now you see how Esau got to throw in the BS? He starts by talking to you about the skin color and stuff, but then throws in all the crap that the white people want to hear, just to double back after this to explain to you what the facts are.
But nonetheless, for the purpose of this video, we will entertain speculations that these colors do in fact denote a once swarthy blackness of these two men's skin complexions, with perspectives from Scottish anthropologist David McRitchie in his 1884 works.
So this is a Scottish anthropologist, an anthropologist from Scotland, okay? The place in question.
Ancient and Modern Britons.
He wrote a book that you can find and read and buy called Ancient and Modern Britons. Because the people now are British. You understand? Words have meanings and meanings are important.
Page 126. Prior to presenting, I must also state that whilst McRitchie makes claims about the ethnic identity of a particular group of ancient Scottish peoples over which these kings ruled, this video will be ruminating exclusively on the ethnic identity of the kings themselves, and is therefore not a dialogue on Scottish ethnic identity itself. There is no word better entitled to be called the John Smith of the nomenclature of British localities than the word black. Undoubtedly, there are cases where this adjective has been applied because it denotes.
By the way, British localities counts as, you know, the whole UK, because that's where the Britons technically took over, right? So that would all be British localities. King James was technically known as a Briton, and he was the king of England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. You feel me? So those would be the localities.
Noted some apparent and striking feature in the landscape, as for example in the case of the gloomy Black Country, or where some craggy peak asserts itself distinctly as a black rock. But in most instances, no such explanation is satisfactory, and it is apparent that the real origin of the name dates from the days when certain portions of Scotland were distinctly recognized as black divisions, for the simple reason that they were peopled by black races, over whom in the latter half of the 10th century there ruled Kenneth MacMalcolm, known to his contemporaries as the Black. He elaborates on the following page that Scotland was overrun in one district by Moors of the 15th century, but 5 centuries earlier the kings of Alban were themselves Moors.
So in history, they try to play games, right? In the 15th century, it was ran over by Moors. But 5 centuries before that, meaning in 1000, the kings were already Moors. So what the hell that mean? Before 1000, the kings was black too? Because it's only been around since 800. So yeah, they the first ones. They the kings. And they ruled all the way until when you said 1500? Oh, damn. Craziness, right? Y'all know St. Patrick's Day is when they was happy to kick us out the land. They took the gold from you. Short
Right.
black people like me and Knock. You know what I'm saying?
You short.
And one of the most celebrated of these, Kenneth or Niger or Dub, ruled over certain districts known as the 3 Black Divisions. How long before and after that the ascendancy remained with his swarthy nation, and what were the probable fluctuations of colour throughout the islands, it is impossible to ascertain, and premature to discuss. But at any rate, the Moorish races, nec falso nomine pictos, were among the chief opponents of the Romans when they marched through Britain 1800 years ago.
Because they fighting the black people that took over the land. Right? Then when we take over the land and we become the Romans, right? The Holy Roman Empire, we're not fighting with us no more. You feel me? They become Jewish people and Khazars, and then we go into fighting them. And we went into the history on how, you know, we end up killing them and destroying the Khazar Empire together. Both groups, right? Dan and Judah and Benjamin. So with Levi, because the Maccabees were still around. Their line anyway.
Now, whilst MacRitchie was a respected scholar, and his works, Ancient and Modern Britons in particular, have been, and I quote, selected by scholars as being culturally important and as a part of the knowledge base of civilization as we know it, it's important to equally remember that he was one man with his own opinions and interpretations that themselves are far from decisive in concluding that the name of these kings indeed referenced their skin complexion. However, with reference to Fairbairn's Book of Crests of the Families of Great Britain and Ireland, compiled by James Fairbairn in 1905 and containing an alphabetical list of approximately 50,000 family surnames associated with their crests and mottos, we find, alongside other Moorish heraldry, the name Den and its corresponding
Den. You know what Den is? Den is a rendition of Dan. Oh, yeah, okay.
Moorish crest.
Black.
I thought they knew that already.
Oh, they might have, they should have, they could have, you know. Hey.
The name Den, which it serves to remember, was the very name by which Dub MacMailcolm was otherwise known. And so in recognizing this Moorish crest...
Why? Because the Danes were Dub, which were known as black. Huh? Are you getting it? You getting it? The Danes could have been white people because they even had names that meant black. Den is Dan, which is Dane. It's the same damn thing.
And its family name, attached to a man which is himself already named after blackness, opens to consideration that MacRitchie might have had reasonable cause in his claims that the name Dub was in fact an explicit reference to the Scottish king's black complexion. William Anderson, seconds MacRitchie's hypothesis in his 1878 works, The Scottish Nation, or the Surnames, Families, Literature, Honours, and Biographical History.
And they don't mind telling you in 1878 because, you know, in France, black people are still running around. You've seen Othello. You feel me? England, Scotland, we're still over there. Feel me? We were the nobles. They're just now starting to take over. So in those type of places, right? Yeah, we're in slavery, but we still got people running around in those places too, right? So, like, you know, hey, they got no problem putting the facts out there because there were people that still knew the facts that they couldn't hide from, right? 1878. This is also after slavery too. So, you know, there's also probably a part of them that's like, hey, these niggas ain't never going to be back in control again, so we can put out whatever we want to put out. They'll never get to read it. So there's real history and real proof, right? Real things y'all need to read and know about in these old books. Feel me? Because they tell you things that they're not going to teach you in the history class.
Of the people.
Even when they got all white people on the cover, they could tell you real important things about black people, like he's about to explain and show you.
Of Scotland, in reference to the name of Duff, the anglicised form of the Gaelic dub, also meaning black.
Okay.
Duff.
They Gaelic dub, right? So when they anglicized it, that's a new word to mean make it white, because the white people have made themselves the Anglos, right? The angels, the good people, the white people, the fair people, the beautiful people, right? They've made themselves that. They changed up. They code switched on us. So dub became Duff, right? An example of that is a famous white girl, at least she used to be famous when I was a kid, Hillary Duff, right? Cadet Kelly and them. Feel me? So she is one of the people that stole and assumed that identity, right? The people that had the name that she now has were Dubs, which probably means her family were slave masters to Dubs and changed the name to Duff once they got in control, right? Hence why Duff is what all the white people that assumed this name had, because it's been anglicized to mean that. But the name is still supposed to mean black, right? Like Jack Black isn't supposed to have the name Black because he's white. That means he was the, you know, probably somebody who took over the people who had the name Black and assumed the name for himself, right? Same thing happened with the white folks named Brown and other names like that. And there's proof to prove these things.
A surname adopted from the Celtic,
like nature knows no color line.
in which the language means black. Sibbald, in his History of Fife, says that as Niger and Rufus were names of families amongst the Romans from the colour and complexion of men, so it seems Duff was from the swarthy and black colour of those of the tribe, or clan of.
You remember, swarthy is a German word, right? That means black.
Of Macduff. And to acknowledge the seeming ancient universality of names denoting the physical features of the bearers, we can observe this phenomena taking place outside of the Celtic tradition amongst the Anglo-Saxons, as presented by author and antiquarian Thomas William Shaw in his 1906 works, Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race, a study of the settlement of England and the tribal origin of the old.
So that's where we just read the book where it has a chapter called Our Darker Forefathers and tells you that the Danes and original Anglo-Saxons, i.e. the Britons, were black people, right? Which he's going to kind of explain a little bit in his book. This is Thomas William Shaw, who you just saw as an old white guy.
English people. The consideration of the evidence that people of brunette complexions were among the Anglo-Saxon settlers in England leads on.
And brunette, by the way, is just another word to mean brown. We don't use the word to mean to describe complexions nowadays because with the new speak English, they've found a way to change it and only make it mean hair color. Though on the internet, it will tell you it means or can describe complexions, hair, or eye colors of a person. But you know, nowadays we only use brunette to mean white people with brown hair, right? Literally. So, but what it used to mean and what he's referring to when he says brunette complexion is not white people with brown complected hair. He's talking about black people or people with brown complexions, right? So, yeah.
Onto that of people of a still darker hue, the
darker hue. Hue is a word in the Old English, Hue, that means color. So when he says of a darker color or a darker hue, he's saying of a darker color, i.e., the brunette complexion, right? Black. Okay? Hue man, as we've said, is two words. It means man of color, Hue and Man. With Newspeak English, they've taken the E out of hue and made it one word, so it's human, Human, but it still means man of color, not every kind of man. That's mankind.
black or brown black settlers. Probably there must have been some of these among the Anglo-Saxons, for we meet with the personal names Blackman, Blakeman, Blackanan, Blackerman, Blacksunu, Blaska, and Blakeman in various documents of the period. He elaborates on page 112 and
see the variants of our name and how they all can mean the same thing. It's because of the different languages that we spoke based off the different places that we've been, and all of us took these different names, right? So some of us got last names that we think might not actually belong to us, but they might have been names that we had before our slave master took them. Our slave master might have took our last name instead because of the prominence that came with it, depending on who you were and who your family was, right?
113. There is another old word used by the Anglo-Saxons to denote black or brown black, the word swart. The personal name,
and you see how he shows you Swart and then changed it to Stuart, because Stuart, i.e., the last name of King James Stuart, right? James the First and the Sixth of Scotland and England, right? That black man had this last name, this surname. This is what his people were called and what they're still called today.
names Swart and Swart may have been derived from this word and may have originally denoted people of a dark brown or black complexion. Some names of this kind are mentioned in the Domesday record of Buckinghamshire and Lincolnshire. These may be of Scandinavian origin, for the nickname
And my family's name is in that book of Buckinghamshire and whatever the other one was. So that's how I found that history of my family being close with King Edward and William the Conqueror and all them dudes, and being Norse and Anglo-Saxon and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I found out I wasn't a Gadite, from that book right there. And my cousin Robert, who I saw records of a long time ago. I even got an uncle named Robert now. Well, had one. You know what I'm saying? He passed away. But yeah, named after that guy, stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's how I found out. So some of y'all might have records in that book too that y'all can find out, where you got actual black family members with last names that are described with lands and nobleship and all type of stuff like that from Scotland to France, right? Because that book explains.
name Svarti is found in the northern sagas. Halfdan the Black was the name of a king of Norway who died in 863.
Norway is in Scandinavia, where my family was at, right? That's Norway, Denmark, Scandinavia, right? Sweden, eventually Finland, all them type places, right?
So-called black men of the Anglo-Saxon period probably included some of the darker Wendish people among them, immigrants or descendants of people of the same race as the ancestors of the Sorbs of Alsatia, referenced in Corpus Poeticum Boreale by Figferson and York Powell. As late as the time of the Domesday Survey, we meet with records of people apparently named after their dark complexions. In Buckinghamshire, Blakeman, Swartinus, and others are mentioned. In Sussex, one named Black. In Suffolk, Blackmanus and Swartingus, and others at Lincoln. This opinion is reiterated by
So that was all one book. That was Origins of the Anglo-Saxon Race. All right. So now I'm going to fast forward a little bit so we can move on. I don't want to take all day on this one video. Knowing me, how I take all day on this one video. So let me make sure ain't nothing else I need to show y'all here. Let me see, what's this?
The Scots, who are now Croatia,
Okay, hold on.
such as are marked with an impression of a variety of devices by means of needles. The 10th century Pictish Chronicle also makes reference to Scotia as translated from the Latin.
So that was just to prove to you that there's things that mention this Queen Scotia, right? Scotia and Scotia from Rome and stuff like that. And I pulled that up because I wanted to show you on the internet, when you look her up, they try to act like she not real. So hold on a second. Right here. Okay. So like if I go to here, right, the etymology of Scot is black, because I got actual screenshots I can show you where it says, yes, the etymology of Scot is black. Now they changed the answer. It says the etymology of Scot doesn't directly relate to the color black, but rather originates from the Latin Scoti, referring to the Gaels who migrated from Ireland to northern Britain and later to all the Gaels. Remember who the Gaels are? Gaels, i.e. the people that speak Gaelic. Put a 7 in the chat, or put the answer in the chat on who the Gaels are. Would they be Israelites, yay or nay? Based on what we've showed you in this lesson today. Because remember, in the PowerPoint, we showed you that Gaelic is the language of the Scottish people originally, that the current Scots don't speak. The white people, they don't speak it. But the original Scots, the black ones, the ones that the video was talking about, spoke this language, originated it, and that language, Gaelic, is close to, you know, the Scottish language, which is, close to Hebrew, right? Which is the original language of the Israelites. So those people would be Israelites. The Scoti, right, are the Gaels. You feel me? And the Gaels are Israelites. So that's how they're, doing things now. They're switching the answers up. So let's get back to the video. Hopefully y'all are following.
The Scots, who are now corruptly called the Hibernians, as if from Scota, the daughter of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who was, as is said, the queen of the Scots. It must be known that the Britons came to Britain in the third age of the world. Cohen goes on to the complexion.
Why is that? Because in the third age of the world, they weren't allowed to go back to Israel. Why? Because of that code that we spoke about last week, right? From those Idumean Jewish people. You feel me? So they made it so that we couldn't go back there. They had an edict. So where did we go? We stayed in Greece. We went to Spain. We went to England, Scotland, Wales. There we are, right? And the history backs that up.
And free from bodily imperfections. They speak the Irish language and wear the plaid bonnet as other islanders.
Just to show you that, that plaid bonnet and stuff like that the white people be trying to wear, minus the little dress that they be having on, that was something that we wore, right? So, yeah, the plaid stuff definitely came from us.
On page 248, describing the inhabitants.
We made it look better, though. Like when we put on a plaid suit, it don't be the same type of plaid the white folks wear. Like, yeah, picture it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Of the Isle of Colonsay, the inhabitants are generally well proportioned and of a black complexion. They speak only the Irish tongue and use the habit and diet that is used in the Western Isles.
So the Irish tongue again is Gaelic. These are the Gaels, right? The Scoti, right? Israelites.
Rogers provides his own perspectives on Martin's records. Martin, who had visited these Western Isles 80 years before Boswell, that is James Boswell's journey to the Hebrides referenced prior, said of the people of Jura, black of complexion, of Islay, generally black, and of Arran, generally brown and some of a black complexion.
So all these people are black. Okay. So that's that. I just wanted to show y'all that according to the history, all these different books, because he was just referencing books the whole time, old books from the time period that talk on Scotland and England and the complexion of the people, what the people look like, different kings that were ruling at those time periods in these old books. And they're telling you that all these people were black. So on days like St. Patrick's Day, when they're, when you look up the history of it and they're talking about kicking certain people out of the land and being able to take certain things over, right? You realize that these people that they're kicking out were us. They have a holiday that we celebrate today. It's niggas like Will Smith dressing up in green and stuff like that, right? And they wearing all their St. Patrick stuff. And it's a holiday where that nigga last name is Smith. His people was in Scotland and Ireland, bro, if that's his real last name. That's where that name comes from. Right? And he's dancing and stuff like that on the feast day of them kicking our people out of the land that we went and founded for ourselves. So that's why it's good to know history. You know what I'm saying? We almost done. I got 2 more clips I want to show for y'all. Before we do though, let me show you these 2. Damn, I didn't even do that. I gotta go back and grab that from my. Hold on a second. I just messed up. Hold up a second. Knock, you there?
God, I'm here.
Say something real quick. I gotta try to find this thing. Just lost, so hold on.
No, I think it's kind of interesting because you can find a lot of this. Well, let me backtrack. You really can't find a lot of this history that you're bringing out. It's not easy. I mean, it is easy, but it isn't easy to find, right? But there are actual.
Yeah, you gotta get trying to know what to look for.
Right. But there are actual pictures and depictions of black rulership during those times. I've seen some because I researched that kind of stuff, but there are some that pop up every now and then that show, you even have what was that portrait? And this has nothing to do with what you're talking about today, but they even had that portrait that it was a, I'm a little hoarse, so forgive me, y'all, but there was a tapestry, a German tapestry of a castle, black castle being attacked. Right. Mm. So, and this is from, I think it was the year 1500s, or maybe earlier than that. So we have a rich history, that has been recorded, and all praises to the Most High that we're coming back to this understanding, all praise to the Most High for all this I ain't gonna say new information, old information that we can now, tear apart and digest and finally put all these missing links together,
There was a book I was trying to show y'all on Google Books, and I just hit the X button and X'd out of it on accident. And I'm trying to pull it back up. I got another one here where I could show y'all, but I wanted to show y'all this one too. Let me see. Is this it? Oh yeah, this is it. Here we go. Okay. All praises. So let me show y'all this real quick. So There's certain things you could do. I'm gonna show y'all one of the cheat codes. I hate showing y'all my cheat codes, but I'm gonna keep doing it because I guess y'all gotta learn how to cheat too. All right. I shouldn't have said that like that. But look, you could go to this thing called Google Books, right? I typed in Scottish Annals because I know the book called the Scottish Annals. A bunch of different books will pop up, right? And I don't know why I can't scroll down right now, but it gives you things like this, right? Where you could read. This is a J.H. Stevenson book, right? It's talking about Kenneth and Malcolm, the guys that we were just talking about. So this would give you actual references from books on the internet, right? This book is the Scottish Historical Review, okay, of the Scottish Annals, right? And I just typed in for the word dub, which would mean black, as we just saw, right? And here it is, right? Dub, 1962 to 1967. There is some reason to think that fuller name was Malcolm Dub, right? He had a son named Kenneth, who was afterwards named Kenneth III, which that's the brother I showed you the second time. I'll show you him again in the PowerPoint. But was succeeded by Cullian, his third cousin, right? Because I told you that it could be times when that could be written or write different people. And Cullian, according to the system, had been ineligible to succeed in Dov and was ineligible to succeed Dub, or was eligible to succeed Dub, Salaki. So, for although in transitory or that rule in the oblique line of the succession which was followed in Scotland, a son might not succeed his father immediately. There was nothing in the system to prevent him from succeeding almost immediately if he had the force or fortune to slay his father's successor, or at least dethrone him. What exactly happened in the case of Dub is not clear, but it is known that before he had been 3 years on the throne, he had to meet Cullian in battle, and that though he defeated him at the time, yet in 2 years or more he was expelled and dead, and Cullian was king. So, yeah. Sometimes when you find pictures of of like that brother, he's a kid. So, yeah. But that's just a way for you to find, books like that. I want to show y'all. And I'm gonna show you this line right quick because it's gonna make sense for the video we're gonna watch before we get up out of here. So this is just a family tree, if you will, of the kings of Scotland, right? So obviously Kenneth I, you got Mac Alpin. His father is the guy that I showed you first, Fergus Moore, right? So you got Mac Alpin, the grandson, I'll say grandson of Fergus Moore, who's the son of Eric. So Kenneth I, Donald I, got a Constantine of Scotland, right? Which another bit of proof that Constantine was a brother that was related to us, because we even naming our people after him because we didn't think he was as bad as history likes to paint it. But conversation for another time. So but yeah, Constantine I of Scotland, Ed, daughter, that was a name, like somebody's daughter, you know what I'm saying? That's not the name, but somebody's daughter was here, and I guess they lost who that's supposed to be. So Donald II, that's a brother. Constantine II, that's a brother. Ioka, right? So this was like a 3-part type of rule, right? And if I'm not mistaken, son of Dungale, right? This is a did like a Dane right here, Gurig. So this is like Judah and Dan ruling together, but Ioka was the one that's actually related to this line right here of brothers and sisters. Malcolm the First, Indolph, you got a brother named Dub, Kenneth the Second, Cullion, who we were just talking about, Kenneth the Third, right? Malcolm the Second, Constantine the Third, Bodhi, which we'll talk about him. Somebody else's daughter, another daughter, Donda, somebody's daughter, Grouch or Grouch, Duncan the First, Macbeth, who a lot of you guys have heard before. This is an aristocrat of this line, Macbeth, who we'll talk about him in this video we're about to watch. Well, they will rather. Lulak, Malcolm the Third, Donald the Third, which Donald Trump is half Scottish, which is why he has that name, because his mom, being Scottish, she gave her son the name of a Scottish king, probably not knowing that Scottish king is actually black. So, but yeah, that's just, a little bit of the line. I'm not going to go through all of it, but all right. So let's get this video and then we'll go from there. So this is a book called The Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. It's a book that you can find on Amazon. It's not that expensive. It's like $15, right? You get it on Amazon Prime. It'll come in a couple days. They got good copies of it. I wouldn't get no Kindle version of it or nothing like that. But if you could get the actual hard copy, you're good to go, right? So, but this book, it's got a lot of history of the people that were ruling in, France, England, Scotland, Wales, Italy, Greece, Spain, Portugal, all type of different stuff. Scandinavia even a little bit. So, but it's talking to you about those places mainly, right? Minus the Scandinavia, Ireland. So it's giving you proof of the people that were ruling the land and the people that were in the land, living. The majority of the people, right? The majority of the stock and who was in control. And you'll see, based off the history, the annals, like those books that we were just reading that you can find on Google Books, those are like, they're telling you that they're black people. The records all show that they're people of color. So this person came and just compiled all those records together in this book right here, right? So what they got highlighted is an old Irish legend speaks of a darker skinned giant race who settled in Ireland from Africa and Spain, right? In Africa, when they go into Africa during these time periods, it's because they don't want you to know about Israel being where these people come from, because they're not supposed to come from Israel, right? And you know that a lot of us fled into Africa at this time from Israel since 70 AD. So some of us are coming from Africa, actually coming from Africa, but we're not actually speaking an African Hamitic language, right? Because we see that they're still speaking Hebrew. So some of these things they put in here aren't exactly true to the T, but we know that we can see from the geographical locations that they are at least talking about us, because we can see the proof of us going to the areas that they're talking about at the time periods that they're talking about, and nobody else coming with us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how that goes. When they say that we spoke a Hamitic language, that's just them putting in conjecture, because there's proof that I showed you before that the languages we spoke were Gaelic and Hebrew, right? And Koine Greek. You feel me? So that's what that is. But yeah. So trying to say they're from Africa, Spain, who descended from Noah and Ham. You see that? So they're automatically trying to throw in a biblical connotation to it and put it in there and call us Ethiopia. You feel me? So that's how they do. Because they don't want you to know, yeah, even though y'all are the black people, you're not these Israelites that were moving around and stuff like that. Right. You niggas is from Ham, right? Ethiopia. So just keep that in mind, right? You read things like this, you have to be able to read between the lines because this is still Esau. He's not going to tell you the whole truth, right? There's still a crafty counsel to make sure that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. So they'll tell you the truth about you ruling Scotland and Wales, but you being Israelites that ruled Scotland and Wales, that's too much information for you. Let's tell them they're from Ham and that they're Ethiopian, even though they're going to take a DNA test and not one of them come back from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
In fact, Ethiopians hate these niggas, but yet and still, right? Yeah.
How we started out this series, or rather how the authors
She reads really slow, but let me finish read this just so y'all can see. So Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Britain, there was an old Scottish, Wales, and English legend of an Israelite presence in their land. I'm not gonna say African because this is them playing games, right? This is also a person with wants to believe all black people can only be African. So keep that in mind too. There's no thought process from the writer that black people could be from Israel. But yeah, so there was an old Scottish, Wales, and English legend of an Israelite, I'm gonna say, presence in their land who was not newcomers but indigenous, which is a lie because yeah, the indigenous people, they were black, but they still weren't African. They were Japhetic, right? And they were tall. They were tall and short, black-skinned, dark-eyed, long-headed people who spoke the African Hamitic language, which is not true. They spoke a Proto-Sinaitic language. The people of the land spoke a language close to the Phoenician, which if I would have played that whole video before, he would have actually showed you records of such, not just somebody writing something in a book, right? So again, that's a falsity, but read between the lines. So it says, it is believed that they migrated from northern, eastern, and central Africa. The Roman Tacticus spoke of dark-skinned people with unusually curly hair living in Britain. Why is Roman Tacticus speaking of black people in Britain, right? Whom he believed to have migrated from Spain. And what were they doing in Spain? When the dark-skinned Julius Caesar, well, see, now this is conjecture. I don't know about that. But the dark-skinned Julius Caesar invaded Britain, he fought these blacks. I don't know about Julius being dark-skinned.
What?
Yeah, that's why I said there's some things in this book that are,
Yeah, that's
but and I ain't make these highlights. This ain't my highlight. This is somebody else's. But yeah, it's read between the lines because they do have sources for everything except the other stuff where they just be saying. So they got the Cambridge Ancient History, right? Volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's not about that part. That's about the ancient Pits, right? Scotland is said to be the ancestor of the small black race of Scotland. So that's talking about the people and the sizes and all that stuff that we talked about up here. That comes from an actual book from Cambridge, right? Not this part about Julius Caesar. That's something that she just added into the book. Okay, so Historia speaks of an ancient, dark-complexed pygmy people of Scotland, right? There are several phenomenal rulers within Europe long before the rise of Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland, right? And of course, they're going to bring name to the Egyptian princess Skoda. They're not going to talk about her husband Miles, but that's it. Look. And then they called him an African king. He's not African. And then they called him King Dardanus, right? But she's not married to Dardanus. She's married to Miles. So she doesn't have all of her history correct. The point of me showing you this book ain't to prove her history, is to prove the fact that she could prove based off sources, right? Like the Cambridge one here, that these people were black. That's the only reason for me showing you this, okay? And in this book, she could show you actual faces of people because she was able to get records of pictures that they don't have on the internet no more since her book has become public because this is an old book. So, yeah.
how we started out this series, or rather how the author started out this series. So he gets into the particular dynasties.
Yeah, like this stuff, right? So, uh, first dynasty of Scotland was called the Alpine Dynasty, ruled by Pits, uh, who were described as short, pigmoid, dark-skinned people. Their first ruler, the Alpine dynasty, was Moorish Kenneth MacAlpin, right? The Scottish archaeologist David McRitchie stressed that during the 10th century, Alpin, the father of Kenneth MacAlpin, was half black and half black Scot. So he was a pygmy, uh, and or Pict and a Scot. So that's like what I was telling you about the Picts being mixed people between us and Japhet. And they're trying to say that Kenneth was a mix. So, um, yeah. So, whose son Kenneth was the first to merge the two foremost branches of the blacks in Scotland. So, he's saying there were two different branches of blacks in Scotland, which I've explained to you the history of that between Judah and Benjamin, and then the two different blacks between the two lines of Judah there, right? Between Zerah and Perez. So, this one of the Kenneths, right, united everybody. Okay. Before him, they were all united under Fergus Moore, but after Fergus, somehow they got ununited. They start fighting, and then under Kenneth, they reunited again. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that happened. MacAlpin's descendant Kenneth the Niger, or Dub, the same as Duffy in the Gaelic and all that other crap, is historically known to be a Niger, right? Black. So, and then the person put God, as in Niger means God. You see the conjecture. This got to be a nigga that wrote it. Whose royal Negro Moorish blood continued to rule Scotland up to James, right? So they're aware that James is black too. Who became the first black Scottish king of England, right? That's true. So that's why they call him the first. It's not that he was the first ever king of England, as some people falsely claim. He's the first Scottish king of England. Okay, so that's how that works. All right. Because I told you guys that England was ruled by a lot of the Danes, and they had the Dane law in England. They had Benjamin out there doing things in England and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how that went. But all right. And then you got the Walter Stewart dude, right? Walter Fitz-Allen and King Richard III and Edward, the homie of my people, right? Henry and all these other people, the Black Prince of Wales, like they just naming all type of black folks, right? That was ruling. Richard I, the Lionheart, right? Henry II, Henry I, who married Edith, Malcolm III. I got a picture of him. I'm gonna show y'all later. Like all these different things, right? Mary I, or Bloody Mary. She was fine. Nice black woman. Y'all ain't know Bloody Mary was black, huh? Bet you ain't know that. Now when you say it 3 times and you close the lights and you stand in front of the mirror, you're gonna think something different, huh?
Scotland and Britain. And it started with the Alps. So, or Nigel. Right. Okay, I learned something.
So this is Queen Marjorie, right? The Moorish Countess, Pict woman, right?
So that name, Neo, is a derivative of Niger. That's interesting.
So she's the wife of an Israelite, okay? But she's a Pict, so she's a Japhet. If I'm not, she married Robert de Bruce, okay? He's a brother, which, let me show you Disney, because they don't have no pictures of him either. Because Marjorie's black and you can find pictures of his wife, they don't want you to know that he's black. So they did with him what they did with Malcolm, and they made it so that it was difficult to find pictures of him. Oh, PowerPoint. All right. You can find a coin, and you can see the date on the coin is not like authentic. It don't look from the time period it's supposed to look like it's from, right? Robert the Bruce. They got a seal of Robert the Bruce from 1893. Right? It's supposed to depict him from 1274, but obviously in 1893, based off the video that we saw, they're not going to depict him accurately, right?
No.
So this is supposed to be his seal, and this is the only picture you can find of him that isn't a painting, and it's still a painting. So that's what we have of Robert the Bruce, the husband of Queen Marjorie. But this is supposed to be an Israelite Scot brother, right? He's got the flower de lis, right? 2 of them on his staff. He's got the lions on his the 4 lions, right? So he's probably Judah, because that's the tribe, right? The number 4. Yeah. He might be holding the 4 up in his hand. I don't know, but they changed it. Like, you never know what he's doing, right? Because they didn't flip the picture up. So he got the cross and the fleur de lis on the crown. So this is clearly Israelite. Probably got fringes on the real garment. You know what I mean? Long garment down to the foot. Sure, he got some real jewels on in the picture, not all this like regular plain crap that they had to make for this white guy and stuff like that. So, but yeah, this is a whitewashed image of the coin, but that's all we got of the seal of Robert the Bruce. But the Bruce is another word for black. So his name is Robert the Black. You feel? That's why they want to make him white, because his name denotes that he's otherwise. So, but yeah, his wife was the woman that we just saw, Queen Marjorie. So let me put her back up on the screen. We're going to finish that and then get up out of here.
So the daughter of Neil, the Earl of Carrick, who was a son of Donachad.
Yeah, Donachad or Duncan.
I think that was also Donald, but don't quote me on that. No, I guess
it's Duncan, lady.
I'm wrong. Same as Duncan, meaning swarthy, black, or dark-skinned warrior. Okay, so even Duncan means swarthy, black, or dark-skinned.
Tim Duncan.
The Moorish princess married Robert de Bruce and gave birth to a son named Robert the Bruce, who became the first king of the Scottish Bruce dynasty.
All right. Notice all the dynasties are in some way are named after something black. Moore, Duff, Dub, Bruce.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Swart, Stewart. It's crazy how they're all named after something black. And black or Niger is something that the white people have called us since the time of the Bible. Ain't that just amazing? And we're still called black today. Ain't that crazy?
Yep.
Yeah. We could probably put the links to the videos. If I can't, I'll show them to you so y'all can find them. Feel me? In fact, this one, Black Royal Bloodlines and Rulers, Part 7, because they did a whole bunch of parts. It's from Truth Uncompromised. And uncompromised is UNCONPROMEYEZED. So eyes like the eyes on your forehead with a Z and an ED. So Truth Uncompromised, if you can see that on the screen, right? Black Royals, Bloodlines, and Rulers, Part 7. That's this video where they're going to talk about stuff like that. I'll show you the other one when we finish.
The princess' grandson, David II, became the second king of the House of Bruce. Her granddaughter, Princess Margaret, also called Marjorie, married Walter Stewart VI and became the mother of...
You see this? Walter Stewart. Y'all don't even know who that is. Walter. Huh? Walter. That's King James' granddaddy, great-granddaddy. Y'all talk about Henry Darnley, his daddy, but y'all don't talk about the person before Henry.
All right.
right? Walter. It was niggas named Walter, and they was happy with the name. Okay?
Of Robert II, who became Scotland's first Stuart king. So let's go and look at.
Boy, you better be happy your name Walter. Talk about, boy. You the first king of Scotland.
Oh, wow.
In his book.
Huh?
No, nothing. Go ahead, Cap.
King James is the sixth king of Scotland. The first Stuart king of Scotland name was Walter. Okay? Don't ever get it messed up. If your name Walter and you on a Just for Men commercial, be happy with your name, brother.
That it started with McAlpin. Okay, Kenneth. All right. So
it really started with Moore, M-O-R. Fergus Moore, right?
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, that was the house or the monarch, McAlpin, the house of Dunkeld, the house of Balael, the house of Bruce, which is where we are right now.
Okay, so these are just telling you that you got the Dunkeld. Let me see if I can read this because she kind of messed him up a little bit. All right. So yeah, we got the McAlpin, right? So you see the white people with the Scottish names and the Irish names, they got the Mac in the front. They really got that from us. That's them trying to take our names and the rulership and the stuff that comes from that. Even the Craven line.
Slack it, Cap.
Yeah.
You think you can zoom that in a little bit?
I can't because that's her.
I'm talking about the the whole screen though. The so that you're on YouTube, right?
It's not
like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, I can't do it. It ain't letting me do it. It's her video that's zoomed out like that. She need to be the one to zoom in. I can't. It's her PowerPoint that's zoomed out. It's when I zoom in, it don't let me. It's not making the video no closer for y'all. So
all right, Cap.
It's McAlpin. Okay, Kenneth. All right.
I wasn't trying to play, but yeah, McAlpin, the House of Dunkeld, right? So they got kings, and they got Kenneth, they got Donald, Constantine, all the people I was telling you about, right? That's all just of the McAlpin line, of that line that I showed you before. Then you got the Dunkelds, right? That's Duncan, that's Macbeth, that's Lou Lackley, Malcolm II, Malcolm III, Donald III, Duncan II, and Donald IV. Okay? So then you got the House of Balloy, and then you got John Balloy. After him, you got the House of Bruce. So you got Robert the Bruce, and then you got David II, or David Bruce, David Bond Bruce. And then Edward Balloy, they take back over. And then you got the House of Stuart, which is how James comes to play, right? So these are different lines as far as Judah and Benjamin, right? From what I understand, McAlpin is Judah, Dunkeld is Benjamin. I believe Balloy might be Benjamin, Bruce might be Benjamin, and then Stuart is Judah, is what I believe. And then you got the Danish kings over here on this side, right? From, up here, the Danes and the Normans and the Lancasters and the Bourbons, the Tudors, right? All them different people. So yeah, that's the line I come from over there, them people.
The House of Dunkeld, the House of...
We ain't gonna go into all that. So yeah, I just wanted to show y'all, it's a lot of history out there. I think it's one more that I want to play. It's real quick. It's only 4 minutes long. We're going to play that through and then we're going to be finished.
Am I the only one that didn't know about the rich black history of Scotland's Western Isles? Buckle up. Black history of Scotland concerns various
Guess I can, huh? Okay.
stories around Kenneth. King Kenneth was also known as Kenneth the Niger or Kenneth Duff, a surname which means the black man. It is a matter of history that many seafaring warriors were North African, travelled via Iberia into Europe and joined in many cultures and held power and position. Niger Val Duph lived and reigned over certain black divisions in Scotland, and some histories state that a race known as the Sons of the Blacks succeeded him. For example, C.J.A. Rogers' Saxon race. Back in 1719, Martin described the inhabitants of
Western Islands of Scotland, Martin. All these different books. I didn't get y'all like 12 books from these people in these videos that y'all can look up and find all this history on just Scotland, bro. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Okay.
as generally brown and some of black complexion. A description of the Western Islands of Scotland contains a full account on page 4. Martin also states on page 224. The inhabitants of this isle are well proportioned, generally brown and some of black complexion. They enjoy a good state of health and have a genius for all callings. On page...
I just showed you how to find that book on Google Books for free. Yeah, he read the same quote I read, y'all.
239, he follows. The natives here are very well proportioned, being generally black of complexion and free from bodily imperfections. They speak the Irish language and wear the plaid, bonnet and sea as other islanders. The folklorist David McRitchie took a strong interest in the ethnicity of the Scottish outlaw Morrow or Murray because of his dark black skin. McRitchie's Ancient and Modern Britons reference Black Morrow, the name given to late 15th century Scottish outlaw. A Kirkcudbrightshire ballad and recorded oral tradition describes the Scottish Moor or Irish Moor as a bandit living in Ettrick Forest. In the tradition, the outlaw Black Morrow is described as a Moor and Saracen. In modern day, the clan MacLellan, a clan of the Scottish lowlands, display a naked arm supporting on the point of a sword a Moor's head. Next, we turn to chapter 7 of our darker forefathers in the book.
Why? Because they part of them St. Patrick people that kicked the Moors out, right? Put the Moors' heads on the spike, and then they made a coat of arms out of it.
Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race, 1906, by Thomas William Shaw, an English...
So that book was made in 1906.
English geologist and antiquarian. Shaw states, in the Irish annals, the Black Vikings are called Dub Genti, or Black Gentiles. These Black Gentiles fought against other plunderers of the Irish coasts, known as the Fair Gentiles, who can hardly have been others than the Fair Danes or Northmen. In 851, Black Gentiles came to Athcliat, that is, Dublin. In 852, 8 ships of the...
Dublin is Ireland, right? Dublin is the capital of Ireland. Dublin is Dublin because it was the land of the Dubs who were black. Dub is the last name of the rulers of Scotland who went to Ireland and, founded it. Fergus Moore was mainly that guy, right? And actually went to Scotland and Ireland to help the Britons out, which is why some people say he could even be a Dane, because he, according to that history, they don't know if he's connected to the Britons until he gets around them to help. So there's speculation on that, right? Which is why I say I'm still looking into it. I ain't give y'all a definitive answer in this lesson yet because I ain't found one yet. But this dude, Fergus Moore, could possibly, depending on where he come from, when I find more information, right? But depending on where he come from, he's the one that determines the line of King James, because the Stuart line comes from him, right? So, and King James put that in his memoir, and other people from the Stuart line put that in their memoir, that they're related to him, right? That's on the Wikipedia page for Fergus Moore. That's on the information you can find on the Annals of Scotland about him and all that type of stuff. So they all say that he's related to King James. The problem with that is that we teach in the Israelite community that King James is of the tribe of, well, most people, I'll say, teach he's of the tribe of Benjamin. Some people have done some newer research and said that he's of the tribe of Judah. And with my research, right, I'm saying he would either be of the tribe of Judah or the tribe of Dan, depending on, you know, where Fergus is from. And Judah being a lion's whelp, Dan also is prophesied as being a lion's whelp, and that's like rulership, right? So we got to understand that both tribes are supposed to be in positions of rulership, and we see Dan at least ruled in England and France, but did they rule completely in Ireland and Scotland too? It's debatable. So yeah, but that's really the lesson, man. I just wanted to show you guys that we definitely had some black people in England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, right? That were the kings. We were the ones that actually founded those lands. Scott does come from the woman Scota, who was black, the wife of Miles, who was the son of King Lacedaemon and Scotia, right? Who also were black. Which people who know the Roman history say that, as I showed you guys earlier, that the name actually comes from Scotia and not Scota, right? Who Scotia was an Israelite. She's a Danite, a Dane, right? And Lacedaemon, who was a Dane. And they're the father and the mother of Miles, right? Who became the first person to go to Scotland and Wales. And that's why they say that they were called the Scots, because their children are the ones that actually had these people that became, you know, Kenneth and Fergus Moore and all them people. So, but we know that them, Lacedaemon and Scotia, were Danites. So, you know, again, makes it debatable, hard to understand, right? So, still history we got to tie together, but you know, just to show pictures again before we dip up out of here. This is Fergus Moore, the legendary Scottish king, Fergus Moore, M-O-R, king of the Western Scottish Kingdom of Dalriada around 500 A.D. This is a picture from the Getty Archive images, right? 500 A.D. This is Kenneth, the guy we were just talking about, right? He rules from 997 to 1005. That's when he's king. And this picture is supposed to be a depiction of him from 10,000 or 1,000. 1,000, whatever you want to call it, 1,000, right? And he stops ruling 5 years after this. So, what do you want to call it, 10,000, 1,000, whatever, right? But, so this brother right here, like I said, he might have a little bit of an anglicized picture, because I think that this image right here is not the original of what this is supposed to be, but you can still tell that it's supposed to be based off of a black guy. This is Kenneth III, aka Kenneth Moore, or Kenneth MacMalcolm, right? And yeah, he's believed that Kenneth killed Constantine III, right? Will be his uncle for the throne, but then was overthrown by Malcolm II. All right, so he gets overthrown by a family member as well. That's kind of how it was, cutthroat, right? Speaking of which, wait a minute. Right. Malcolm, Big Mouth, right? The guy we was just talking about. Malcolm, King of Scotland, also known as Malcolm Canmore or Cian Moore, right? M-O-R. See, they change it to Canmore and they make it C-A-N-M-O-R-E. You think it's
Right.
the white person name, but the way it's spelled for real is C-E-A-N-N, Cian or Cian Moore, M-O-R. Same as Fergus Moore, right? To prove their connection. Meaning the great head or chief, right? So he's the chief. He made himself the chief of the Moor, right? Chief Moore, Dan Moore. And Joanne is a rendition of that. That's my grandmother's name. So, So Chief, circa 1090, Malcolm was crowned king at Scone in 1057, having killed who? Macbeth. Y'all heard of Macbeth, right?
God,
We all know he black.
God.
So look, he got family members that's doing all the killing and stuff like that, right? Who had assumed power after murdering Malcolm. Malcolm's father, Duncan I. Malcolm had spent Macbeth's reign in exile at the English court. So they're even running rampant with the Anglo-Saxons at this time. They're cool with them and everything, right? Because these are one and the same stock. So that
Right.
when they go into exile in England, in Scotland, they could run to England and be cool, living good, right? So began to introduce. He gets exiled in the English court after he married his second wife, Margaret, right, who was English, and began to introduce feudalism in Scotland to replace traditional Celtic culture. Why? Because the Celtic culture with the plaid stuff is something that we brought there. Why? Because we were the original Celts. Throughout his reign, he attempted to annex Cumbria and Northumbria or Northumberland until William II invaded Scotland and Malcolm was forced to pay homage to him. Underrated, Malcolm embarked on his fifth incursion into England territory, but was killed on the 13th of November, 1093, during a battle of Alnwick. All right, so that's Malcolm. And of course, he got the fleur de lis on and everything because he the brother. And then you got Big Bruce right there, right? Robert the Black. So, and of course, like I told you, this is a fake picture, but yeah, that's all we got because they didn't whitewash it. So that's just a couple of the Black Kings, right? And then I showed you them books where you can find the rest of them on here. So hope y'all liked it. A lot of my side, I found out my family's from Italy. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm telling y'all, bro, a lot of y'all families not from Africa.
Right.
And y'all do the history and y'all think y'all Edomites and don't realize, nigga, we was over there before y'all went to Africa or at least at the same time. So some of y'all went to Africa, some of us went somewhere else, right? It ain't that we wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So, and like some of it is before. Some of y'all was there before Africa. So it's just history you got to do. You know what I mean? And it's cool once you find it out and you realize there was actually Black people over there. So you ain't got to tell nobody, oh yeah, I got a little bit of white in me or whatever, because you heard your family from Germany or Italy or something like that. Then you were like, oh damn, wait a minute. It was niggas over here around the time that my family was supposed to be over there that got the same last name as my family. Oh wait a minute. Wait a mother trucking minute. Was we Black or was we white? And then you realize you probably was never. And then you do and then it's like you ain't even white. You was Black people the whole time in these areas where they told you it was only white people at. Right? So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. It's history y'all could do. It's research you could find. And if your family's involved in it, it's real good. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to find out, hey, I didn't find something out now about my family. You know what I mean? And you can connect the tribes too, because it's easier, I would say, to connect the tribes with the people over there in them areas from that time period. Because it's only damn 3 or 4 you got to work with if you count Levi, right? So, yeah, that's that. But y'all hit the like button. The water for watching. So, yeah, it said, found out my family was born in Italy by the house of my father. History. Yeah, you know. So you had 2 different people in Italy. You got Judah, well, 3, I guess, because you don't know if any of the Maccabees and their people got sent over there. So you had them folks, right? We know about the Scythian people. We had the what's them Italians that the other Italians don't like? Start with S.
Irish? I don't know.
No, brother, the other Italians.
In Sicily.
Sicily. Right?
Sicilian. Yeah.
So we know about the original Sicilian Italians being Black people, right? Those are Sicilian Italians that thank you, Thwart. They would be similar to the people like Cornelius, right? Brothers from the tribe of Judah and stuff like that would be sent over there to Italy. They go into war with them, or the Italian band, they Israelites that go back to Israel to do the Passover. You know what I'm saying? And they go back to Italy. Like, you got family that's over there from that time period, and they stayed in them places. You know what I'm saying? Till it was time to move somewhere else.
Right.
Realize you still got records from over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, yeah, same thing. That's why I be trying to tell people, because there's still camps that teach that like Cornelius is a heathen, but that wouldn't, it don't make sense.
It doesn't.
And you can connect this tribe once you do the history that we've done over here at HOS. So Cornelius was of the tribe of Judah, I believe, right? Or of the tribe of Dan, depending on if he was a Lacedaemonian or not. But it don't say he was Lacedaemonian. That's why I'm calling him Judah. So, yeah. But, you know, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot of history. It's a lot of things to connect. And like I said, a lot of y'all family might be involved. So do y'all history research, man. And just realize if you end up getting history back from any of them places where white people at right now, it don't mean that you are Edomite. Because we were clearly ruling those places before then. So do the research and try to come to the conclusion, right? You know what I'm saying? And go from there. Because it was definitely black folks in America.
All right. God, all praises for that. I know if you were finished, Cap.
I'm done. Yeah.
God, hey, that was some good stuff. That was some good stuff. I learned some new things. I knew about a lot of the things in Scotland and kings in Scotland, but learned some new things also. And I hope everyone else was edified by that, because I really do enjoy these history classes. And I believe if we got to think about it, y'all. I remember when I was in school, one of the subjects that I noticed that a lot of my friends did not like was history.
They hated it.
Right. You know, I was kind of, interested in it, you know what I'm saying? Because I always wondered why everything was controlled by the people that was teaching us. So I was like, they got to go deeper than this. But all praises for that. Hey, I hope everyone, we do classes. This is Milk Monday. We do classes. We break down scripture. We give, an understanding of the commandments and keeping God's laws and commandments. But we have to learn our history. Family, we have to go back. We have to be taught. We have to be retaught, right? We have to search our family, search our fathers, as the scriptures say, and that even includes the secular history that Captain that I'll bring out sometimes. The Captain usually always brings out. So all praises for that. So we can go ahead.
Hey, and one more thing, like and just to prove, right, the stuff that we've been saying and how important it is. You see, even now, because they know that they got the internet and AI, they can't hide too much of the stuff, right? There's so many of us that make these type of videos and stuff that prove this stuff and read the books to y'all and stuff like that, that they even have to put it in movies now. So you see them sprinkling us in, like they putting Denzel Washington in movies where you would think it's white people there, but it's black people that look like he's a black man playing a role that you think would be a white guy, right? They had the big bald dude play Achilles. They had Forrest Whitaker play the last king of Scotland, Kenneth, right? Like they had they got the Othello thing. They got the black lady playing the Dane in that Viking movie on Netflix. Like they're sprinkling us in to all these places in these movies where you're like, why the hell they got black people in this movie? And it's because like you just thinking they're trying to include us, right? It's inclusion. It's a DEI hire, right?
Right.
But that ain't what this is. They're actually being historically accurate when they put these people in. It's not supposed to be as many white people in the movie. They're supposed to be black.
Yep.
So now it's like they're adding the black people in, and y'all are like, damn. I'm thinking they just adding us in there because they trying to include us and make us watch the movie. No, nigga. That's supposed to be you. This is about you.
Right.
They stole your story. They got all these white people with black hair. You don't even see white people with black hair when you go outside.
No, hardly.
Unless they emo.
Right.
They done dyed it black.
Right. Absolutely.
Why they got all these Danes with black hair? It's because they're supposed to be black people. They're trying to give you this brunette complexion and turn it into hair color.
Mm-hmm. It becomes a mockery.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. They got to put it in the movies because they can't lie about it no more. So the more they put it in the movies, it should make y'all more curious about why. And then when you find the history, as we're showing y'all, it should make y'all happy to not only watch the movies, but, you know, tell other people this really about us. So maybe we could get them to put our people in the movie so it'll be more interesting and historically accurate, right?
God. All praises. All praises for that. So again, I hope everyone's edified. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go over a few things before we go ahead and end class, so everyone go and get some sleep. We still gotta get back up in this, wake up the next morning and do what we gotta do in this captivity. So first things, let me see. Hold on. Let me go back to this real quick. I haven't been on the board in a minute.
It's history, y'all. Sometimes you can't do it.
Slow with it.
I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, I mean, because we want to bring out. We don't want to fumble and bring out misinformation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
and I don't want to do a 2-part class of some stuff that y'all not gonna like anyway. I'd rather just do it one time.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, everybody, or those who just came in, I want to post this real quick. This is our Anointed House of Saints Feast Day Calendar 2025. And just to give you some dates that are coming up, and of course, everybody, there have been other camps and other congregations that are already in the spirit of Passover, but Anointed House of Saints will be having our Passover feast in Atlanta, Georgia once again. This is going to be on April 11th through the 13th. I believe it's 11th, 12th, and 13th. If anyone would like to attend, look at the bottom. The ticker is scrolling down right now. You can visit our website at anointedhouseofsaints.org/events and order and reserve your seats for this Passover. We would love to have you. We would love to have you. Absolutely. So
men, also bring a staff. Pause. But bring a staff.
God. Absolutely. Calling out to any brothers who are wanting to get into this work, who want to build this kingdom up for Yahweh, with Anointed House of Saints. You can do so by sending us your interest at anointedhos@gmail.com. Subject line, put prospect phase. We will get back that information to you as to when the next prospect phase is going to begin. Also, let me go ahead and show you something here real quick, because let me pop this off here, because I always make the same mistake. Yo, check it out. I want to show our Anointed House of Saints website, right? It's Anointed House of Saints. You see the Passover banner going through the give alms. Yo, this is something that, we wouldn't be able to do without, your donations, without your participation, because the Most High has put it in our spirit to come out and do the work. And we do this by, giving you access to as much material, to as much information, biblical understanding as as the Most High gives us that power to do so. So we want you to visit this, or we want you to go ahead and tell your friends and family about our website, right? Because we got a lot of exciting things on here, and a lot more exciting things to come. And I'll just go through this here real quick, because I want to show a few things on here that some people who are new may not know. But if anyone would like to support Anointed House of Saints, you can do so. And I'm going to tap here, right here, real quick. I'm trying to make this quick because I know it's late. All right. But we have donation packages now, right? We have our $20, $50, and $100 packages, which come with incentives. These are donations that would be paid monthly, right? With that, on some of them, you get 10% off on certain events and feast days. Also, free entry up to the $100 package, First Fruits, Tabernacles, and Passover, and a few other things also, right? So if you are able to become a foundation supporter, growth supporter, or mission partner, you can do so by coming to this particular page, and then you select which actual package you would like to donate with, and we can start the process that way. For those who may not be able to dedicate themselves to that, we also have our alms, which you can send via Cash App at $AHOS School. All right, so just wanted to show you that. Also, let's be supportive of one another, right? And what I mean by that, what do I mean by that? Well, actually, I'll stay on the website here because we do have a shop page, right? And on this shop page, we are selling merchandise, right? So support us. You can support us in many different ways, right? Also, let me go ahead and flip this real quick to one of our brothers. Our brother who has his own business, and it's a very, very, very good one. I mean, I love the product. This is your brother, Captain Shaquat, Smooth Like Butter. This is our organic body butters. Don't know what that is. He got something popping up on there, 10% discount. But when you got time, hey, check out the webpage. Maybe you got something, a gift for your mother, for your wife, for a loved one. But this is how we support each other. This is how we come back to building our kingdom. All right. So let me get off of that. Stop sharing. I would have given shout outs, but I see everybody starting to leave. So let me go ahead and get Daniel 7. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here.
Get the body butters for the brothers and the mothers. Right.
We got to support one another, y'all, because, hey, this kingdom is on its way down financially, I mean, in every way, right? Morally, economically, spiritually, all that, right? So we got to get ourselves together. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. By Hashem, HaMashiach, Yahushai. With that, I want to thank you for being with us for another Milk Mondays. I am Officer Nak.
Captain All the Aristocrat.
And remember, we have classes through the week. All right. We have our Thursday night portion. We have our Friday night Bible study. And we have our Sabbath morning brew. All right. And then we're back around this way again. Okay. So thank you for being with us. And until next time, Shalom, family. Shalom.
Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music.